Hey friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm very excited today. I'm playing with the stamp of the month, the Stamp and Die of the month from the Not Too Shabby shop. Jamie contacted me a couple weeks ago and asked me if I would be interested in being a guest designer for February, and of course I would. I love Jamie's stuff at the Not Too Shabby shop. It's fantastic. So this is the February stamp and coordinating die set. You can see that gorgeous butterfly image, lots of sentiments, some smaller ones, and that die set has coordinating dies for every piece in the stamp set, including all the sentiments. And I love that feature. I love when the sentiments have a coordinating die. I think that looks amazing when you have a die to cut out your sentiment. So I'm really excited about this. And I pulled out some scrap papers because I love, with images like this, to heat emboss them in white on dark colors. So I wanted to try a few different colors to see what it looked like. I also thought this would be beautiful colored with my Copics and watercolored, but I want to do a quicker watercolor technique. So I'm just going to play with this scrap piece of watercolor paper that I have. In the end, I'm going to get 5 cards all together. And you'll see 2 of them are a quick watercoloring technique and 3 of them are embossing. I just wanted to show you quick and easy, beautiful colors. So I'm just pulling this stamp set out, and I think it's beautiful. I love this gorgeous bold butterfly that's got the florals on one side. It's like the combination of 2 beautiful things. So to start with, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my heat embossing technique first because that's the easiest. In hindsight, I probably should have done the watercoloring one first because I had to let the panel sit and dry, which I could have been heat embossing while I did that, but that's not what I did. So I'm starting out with the black because I love black with white heat embossing on it. And I think this butterfly lends itself perfectly to this. And of course, at some point I will be coloring this in the next couple days with my Copics because how beautiful would that be? But I just want to do some techniques where you don't have to color it in. You can see how beautiful this stamp set is without doing all the fussy coloring or fussy watercoloring. So I'm going to make adding color to my cards with the watercolors very easy. So I start out here, I'm using my powder tool. I love this powder tool. So I'm just using the powder tool on my paper. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just conditioning the stamps because I've never used these stamps before. So I just rub them with my hand. I'm stamping with my Versamark ink, and I have a nice goopy Versamark ink pad because I just re-inked it, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this and really give it a good press on all the bits of that butterfly, and then I'll go ahead and put some white embossing powder on it. And I have my white embossing powder just in a little bin. I use my embossing powder so much more having it in these bins because it's not as messy for me to do it exactly the way I'm doing. So I did go ahead and heat set that. I repeated it on the red cardstock and then on the blue cardstock. And then when I was all done, I trimmed my panels down to 3 3/4 by 5. I also trimmed down panels to give a little border, and those I did 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So the white panel here is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So I have a tiny little sliver of color before I put it down on my card base. And all my card bases are 4 1/4 by 11. I scored and folded those at 5 1/2. So now it's just a matter of putting everything together. And then my first 3 cards will be done. So these are so quick. You can do a variety of colors. And this sentiment lends itself really well to a sympathy card, by the way. Let me just find the stamp set here on my table. You can see I'm using a tape runner. I either use my tape runner or liquid adhesive to put the panels together. I like both. I'm just finding it really convenient to use that tape runner lately. So the sentiment I used says, "Whisper I love you to a butterfly and it will fly to heaven to deliver your message." So I thought that was really beautiful. There's a little tiny hope sentiment, a sending hugs sentiment, one that says, "Spread your wings, it's time to fly." I love that. And I did make one of my cards with that sentiment because I'm going to send it to my niece. She just moved into her first apartment, or she just moved into her permanent apartment, I guess I should say. So I completed all the cards. The pink I did with a black border on a white card base, only because I didn't have any more of that pink. Like, these are quite literally scraps of paper from my scrap bin there. Aren't those pretty? So simple. Now I have 3 sympathy cards that will work beautifully. So here's my watercolor piece, and that butterfly fits on there, so that will work for me. In fact, I'll get that butterfly and all 3 little butterflies on this piece. So I generously spritzed it with water. I spread the water around with my big round paintbrush, and then I just dropped a couple drops of re-inker. This is Fiesta Blue. It is Samba and Catching Rays, and these are from my Catherine Pooler inks. And I know Jamie has some of the Catherine Pooler mini ink pads in her shop, and the Catherine Pooler inks are amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I feel like you can not go wrong with them. So I played with this for a little while. I just twisted it and turned it. I wanted the colors to run together and combine, and I was getting really dark streaks, so at the end you'll see I take my paintbrush and try to get rid of those a little bit. So I just use a microfiber cloth to dab it all off, and you can see I'm working on an all-purpose Teflon mat. I love this mat. It saves my desktop. I will have ink all over my fingers for the rest of the day, but that's one of the beautiful things about playing with mixed media. You wear the colors everywhere you go. So now I'm just going to spread them out a little bit to get rid of those dark lines and try to get the colors to mingle a little bit. I'll spritz it a couple more times, and I let it sit for about an hour to dry. I wanted it completely dry, and you could go ahead and heat emboss on top of this. I just want to stamp this with my black ink. I'm going to use my Catherine Pooler Midnight Black ink, and it's my favorite ink pad to use for techniques like this. But I want to get all of these butterflies because I can make a card with those 3 little butterflies. And I tried to rearrange the big one so that I could get a maximum number of different colors on the butterfly. So I went ahead and just stamped this up, and here I'm conditioning the smaller stamps again. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Jamie's, pardon my elbow there. Let me tell you a little bit about Jamie's Stamp of the Month Club. She's got several clubs. She's got a Box of the Month, which is amazing. I subscribe to that for at least a year. The Stamp of the Month, or the Stamp and Die of the Month. And she's got a paper pad club also. But with this, the Stamp and Die of the Month, you can actually save 18% if you subscribe to have the new Stamp and Die come at the beginning of every month. The new release is always at the beginning of the month, like February 1st, March 1st, and so forth. And if you subscribe for to automatically have this shipped to you, you will save 18%. You can just try it out for 1 month. You can purchase it for 1 month, but you won't save the 18% unless you subscribe. So, and get it every month. And if you get it for a few months and decide you can't do that anymore, it really is easy to cancel your subscription because you'll have an account and you can easily cancel the subscription. Each time you get a subscription, you get points in Jamie's shop that you can redeem for. She's got some special stamps and dies and things like that you can redeem your points for. And it's also easy to do that. I just realized today I have a whole bunch of points I should redeem and get some fun stuff. So lots of benefits to actually subscribing. The first and foremost, you automatically get this Stamp and Die, or just the stamp if that's what you prefer, shipped directly to you, and you don't even have to think about it. And it's kind of fun to get that little treat at the beginning of every month. So you can use that a few times throughout the month. And isn't that gorgeous? And look how beautifully that die cut out. And by the way, those dies have a magnet sheet. Like, I always think that's a class act when a stamp shop puts a magnet sheet with their dies. Like, I love that. It helps me keep things organized and tidy. So I did go ahead there and just stamp those sentiments in white, and I cut them out with a coordinating die, and there's the magnet sheet. You can see that it's just the magnet, black magnet side is just down on that particular one. And I did pull out some sequin mixes I have from these actually came in my box of the month a few months ago actually, and you get really nice like confetti bits and gems and stuff in the box of the month. So I have some of those left over. If you like making shaker cards, these are especially gorgeous for that. I just use them to decorate. So for this one, I just cut down a couple pieces of scrap paper. I just wanted something colorful under my butterfly to anchor it. And again, the black square is 1/8 inch wider and 1/8 inch taller than the blue square, whatever dimensions you want to make those. I think mine is like 2.5 by 3-ish. Now I have a variety of different kinds of foam in my stash. I love those strip foams. I like having a couple different sizes of the squares, and here on the back of the butterflies and sentiments is where I add my foam. I like the layers to be flat, but I like to pop up my image and my sentiment. And if I just pop up one thing, it's my sentiment. I like when the sentiment is popped up on foam for some reason. For me, that seems appealing. So I put the sending hugs with that gorgeous butterfly. I love it. And I think that card is beautiful with all that color on the butterfly. That's such an easy watercoloring technique. So here I've actually pulled out a cover die from my stash, which is just like a bunch of like scribbles, stitch scribbles. So here I'm using the Spread Your Wings, It's Time to Fly. And again, there's a foam strip on the back of that. Those foam strips are about 1/8 inch. I've got one big square on the back of the larger of these 3 butterflies. And I'm going to have lots of color on this because of this technique. And I've got a couple smaller foams on the back of these smaller butterflies. And I kind of just sit them down. I don't push them down till I am sure I'm putting them where I want them. Then I give them a good push. And I'll go ahead and add some sequins from my little package there. And here are my completed cards. Aren't they wonderful? So much fun, so quick and easy. And I have so many more ideas because I have not used my Copics and I have not done a fussy watercoloring technique on that big, beautiful butterfly. But there's so many things you can do. Think of what you can do with vellum with these butterflies, friends. So again, I will put the links to the Stamp and Die Club below, and also the stamp, if you want just the stamp and not the die, that's down there below as well. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel, and definitely check out Jamie's shop. Her stamps are so cute and so well done. Like every month, I'm always happy with the stuff I get from her shop. So thank you, Jamie, for having me participate as a guest designer. I had a lot of fun, and I always love playing with Not Too Shabby Shop's goodies. So thanks for watching, friends. Have a wonderful day.